the first part of the show, we'll meet with the members of a Hobby Brewer group. This is a group of expats who consider beer the best ever found drink in the world. And many of them, apart from trying to learn and discover as many types of beer in the world as possible, have successfully brewed beer, not for sale, but for their own use. Sound good? Here's our first destination.
Hello.
Oh, morning. How are you doing?
Very, very good, sir.
Yeah.
And you?
Yeah, and how are things?
Oh, not too bad. Not
Okay.
too bad.
Very
You wanna
coming to
come
see.
in?
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Today, I'm in luck as I'll pay a visit to Tsc Tempest's home to see how he brews beer and have a chance to join the first meeting between members of the Hanoi Handcrafted Brewers Guild and Ho Chi Minh City's Hobby Brewers Club. They will use the meeting between these hobby brewers to share the know-how about how to make good beer.
I don't use it in the UK to make IPAs. So these are the three. You need a Centennial, a Chinook, and a Cluster. These are the three C's that go into an IPA.
We often share it with the members, right? And so with the Hanoi Handcrafted Brewers Guild, the whole point of the guild is to share information about the making of beer. And part of that is to show how easy it is to make beer, plus also to show the different scales and levels at which you can brew. You can brew from a 10-litre system, or you can brew from a 100-litre system.
Dean Anthony is the founder of Hobby Brewer Vietnam in Ho Chi Minh City. On this trip to Hanoi, he wants to exchange experiences and establish an official link with the members of the local Brewers Guild.
I'm a member of the Ho Chi Minh City First Hobby Brewers Club. We have about 12 to 15 members in Ho Chi Minh City that on a regular basis make beer at home. My reasons for coming to Hanoi is to see how the Hobby Brewers Guild's hobby brewers make beer in Hanoi.
During the talks, members of the two groups discuss every feature related to home brewing. That includes concocting the correct recipe, setting up the right brewing system, and many other things. Enthusiasm is something that can be seen in every person here, since they all have a reason to take home brewery as their hobby.
I like beer, and I was always interested in the process of making beer. And I like to do some things where I can see the result. Yeah, actually, if you work in like me in an office, you don't always see the result of your work. But with brewing, it's a very nice hobby. You see your output, and yeah, can make something nice.
Looks simple, but to understand the home brewery system, some explanations are really important, and that's why Tsc takes me around for a mini tour.
First off, we start off with grain. Here is a Pilsner malt. This one's from Australia. So this is what gives all the sugars for the beer so as we can use it. So this area here is the brewery, and this is a 3-tier brewing system. Right? And it's called a 3-tier brewing system because it's on 3 different height levels, and it allows us to use gravity to move the liquid from one end to the other. So we make some hot water in here, we put it into here, which is our mash tun, and this is where we put the grain as well. After that, we drain through this tube into here, which is the boiling kettle. Also, at that point of time, we add some hops. So we've got different types of hops in here. This is an Australian hop, and it has a certain bitterness to it. And what we've got here is 2 types of coolers. This one's called a plate heat exchanger, and it's very effective at cooling beer down. And what happens is we put the beer into one end, and the beer comes out the other end. From the tap, we take water in the opposite end, and then the water runs out the other end and down to the drain. What we've got here is the fermentation area. And what we've got here is a fresh beer that I made yesterday. And we then add some yeast. Right now, it's making beer. Right? So it's green beer when it gets to this stage, but once it gets into here, it's the yeast that does the job that turns it into drinkable beer.
In a hot climate such as Vietnam, it comes as no surprise that beer is a favorite drink for Vietnamese and foreigners alike. While many can be satisfied with any kind of beer, beer lovers need something more, something with flavor and true character. This dark beer, made by Peter, the first brewer in Hanoi, not only has a good look, but has also been modified to meet personal taste. That's how beer lovers can fulfill their dreams of producing beer that cannot be found anywhere in the market.
We find that we appreciate homemade beers. They're very inexpensive to make. Anyone can do it at home, and it's a very rewarding experience.
I've always loved beer, and we have a lot of great beers back in Europe. Many of them you can't find here or really expensive. So I look forward to the opportunity to try and make some of my own and kind of bring that excellent brewing culture into the Vietnam from Europe.
The hobby beer is completely different, and you can do the beers that you want depending on the ingredients you get. And so it's just something different, not comparable to what is on the market.
And this is how beer is made at home. First, grain is ground until it's turned into flour. Water is boiled to a certain temperature. Then water and the ground grain are mixed up. And the mixture is heated vigorously for some period of time. Hops are then added. As they have to wait, the brewers taste the beer that other members send here. After this process, commands will be sent back to brewers.
At the same time as sharing that information, we're also sharing the products and saying, hey look, this is what I did on this particular weekend, this was the beer I made, and here's how it turned out, what do you think of it? And if there's any errors in your system, it'll come out in the beer. And people with skill and knowledge will say, well, that tastes sour. Sounds like it tastes like you got a problem in your bottling process, or you got an infection. This tastes formaldehyde, or there's something in there that's not a nice flavour. Maybe there was a problem with your fermentation. So there's these kinds of things. So then we start to analyse the beer and share that knowledge about how to improve the process, improve the practice of making beer, and making better quality beers.
Finally, brewers cool the beer they're making and pour into a vessel. The liquid is then shaken, tested, and some yeast was put in. The fermentation officially starts.
Very happy with the process so far. There was no problems with what we were doing today. Everything went quite smoothly, which is a really good benefit. It means that this workspace is going to be a very easy and comfortable workspace. No real significant problems. One of the biggest areas of concern is leakage with water and that kind of stuff. And the beer that's coming out is looking good, so now I'm looking forward to bottling it.
When the process finishes, brewers share their own beer with each other so that they could give feedback later through the website or in the next meetings. With their openness, the groups are expecting to receive more members who can share the joys of home brewing.
Sharing information and bringing other people in and trying to make it simpler for people who have a very small space. We're very happy with it.
If people are interested, there's no problem in sharing knowledge and information.
So if you want to learn about beer, or if you just want to enjoy great beer drinking, I suggest you give us a call and come down and see what we do.
Craft brewery is rising in popularity around the world, and these groups of expats in Vietnam are setting a trend.
We are risk takers.
We are hard working.
We don't chase after trends, we create them.
We are all craft brewers.
I helped brew one of these beers.
I helped brew one of these beers.
I helped brew one of these beers.
I totally helped brew one of these beers.
So did I.
Me too.
To you.
To us.
On three, then cheers.
1, 2, 3, cheers!